Today on the LA Food Podcast. No, we didn't get invited to the Taylor Swift-Travis Kelce wedding, dear listener, but don't worry, that won't stop us from snarkily critiquing the food on Chef's Kiss Big Miss. Danishes as the midnight snack. What were they thinking? Karen Palmer's with us today to discuss a Caper Media article that got all of food media talking. It's Dana Brown's 4,000-word epic titled How Eater Lost Its Bite. The piece is a timeline of how the OG digital publication went from scrappily disrupting food media to facing round after round of layoffs and ultimately being left out of its parent company's massive and very lucrative sale to the Murdoch family. It's a story of decisions, some good and some very bad, as well as of an industry that continues to change at breakneck speed. Karen and I discuss what Caper gets right, where the company actually went wrong, and what's still working for Eater today. On Chef's Kiss Big Miss, Jen Harris makes a big proclamation about LA pizza, Tejal Rao eulogizes a mainstay of Las Vegas food culture, Mark Cuban makes a restaurant investment in LA, and Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce throw a wedding where the food is a little less love story and a little more anti-hero, or at least antacid. In recent eats, Karen's done a Michelin star tasting menu in La Jolla and revisited a Sunset Strip icon. Yours truly has made it to the hottest taqueria in town and a 2-star restaurant that should probably be a 3-star, and we've both visited Italian hotspots and have some thoughts. A reminder that the LA Food Podcast is part of the Acquired Taste Media family. Be sure to listen to our sister podcast Taqueando with Bill Esparza. This week, Bill sat down with Chef Roberto Alcocer of Valle in Oceanside. As always, I'm your host Lucas Servodio, and without further ado, it's time to chat down. Dear listener, this is not an ad, it's just a humble request from me personally. This November, I'm running the New York City Marathon with Soccer Without Borders, and I'm trying to raise $8,000 for the organization. Running the New York City Marathon has been a lifelong dream of mine, and if you listen to this show, you also know soccer is basically a lifelong obsession. Between me and Father Saul talking Champions League totally unnecessarily every other episode, and all my tortured sports metaphors, none of this should come as a surprise to you. What I love about Soccer Without Borders is that they use the game to create belonging, mentorship, confidence, and opportunity for young people, especially kids from immigrant and underserved communities, refugees a lot of the times too. It's a mission that really means a lot to me. This will also be personally my 8th marathon and very possibly my last, so I wanted to tie it to something bigger than myself. And if you're able to support even $1, $5, $10, it genuinely makes a huge difference and gets me closer to the fundraising goal. It would mean the world to me. There's a donation link in the show notes if you want to contribute. Seriously, thank you guys. All right, let's get into the episode. Welcoming back to the LA Food Podcast, a woman I'm assuming is throwing a massive party tonight for season 20 of The Real Housewives of Orange County coming back to television. Karen, did my invite get lost in the mail?
You know, just it's all orange themed foods, orange drinks. We're gonna do it up.
Orange drink.
For the OG of the OC.
I was actually just scrolling Instagram stories while I was waiting for you to sign on. And no shade, by the way, I was just on early.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, you were perfectly on time. I'm just always early because I have to set up the room.
Yes.
Basically, I was on Chris Decker's Instagram story, and I saw that he posted a reel in which Tamra Judge said Truly Pizza was her favorite place to eat in Orange County.
Wow. Okay, that's big. I mean, here's the thing. I don't know if I always trust the housewives' food choices, but that's definitely one I could get behind because Truly is amazing.
Yeah. It's so good, even Tamra can recognize it.
Exactly. Love it. Go Truly.
Go Truly. Well, hey, couple logistical things before we get kicked off today. Speaking of pizza, we've got our Pizza Run Club this Sunday happening at Prince Street Pizza in West Hollywood. We're doing a 3-mile running loop or 1.5-mile walking loop all the way back to Bar Next Door where they have a bar pie. Karen, are you a fan of the bar pie?
I love a bar pie, you know, a little thin, crispy crust. What's not to love?
What's not to love? And apparently the one at Bar Next Door is pretty excellent. Plus, you can still sign up now and receive a free half pint of Henry's Secret ice cream. Have you had this ice cream yet?
I haven't. You know, that's been on my list for a long time, and I've been dying to try it. So,
People are saying it's the best.
yeah, it's worth it. I mean, honestly, it's worth the Pizza Run Club is worth it just for the ice cream. Or come from the pizza, stay for the ice cream.
There you go. And guess what? You don't have to run.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I went to the last one. I walked. It was fantastic. Good times had by all.
Good times had by all. Well, the link to the tickets are in our show notes, so be sure to go sign up to them. You can also find them if you visit my Instagram profile at the LA Countdown. Now, the other thing I wanted to bring up is that last time you were on, I don't know if you recall, but I was talking about how we were almost at 40 reviews on Apple.
Oh, right. Right. And we were waiting for my mom to leave one.
So she did, apparently, or somebody else did. And I said this on the last episode, but we got to like 42. The only issue is somebody left us a 1-star review.
What?
And knocked us down to a 4.8 rating from a 5.
Wow.
The good news is, I said this on last week's episode, and we got 11 more 5-star ratings since last episode. The people showed up for us.
Okay. I love it. So is it back up to like 4.9 now?
We're still at 4.8, actually. So, dear listener.
Oh, wow. All right.
You got a job to do. Keep getting us those reviews. It's super helpful.
Exactly. We need you.
We need you. Your country needs you. Your podcast needs you. Well, hey, enough of that. Let's go to recent eats. Karen, where have you been eating recently?
Well, the other night I checked out Bad Roman in Beverly Hills. As I'm sure you know, it's a New York transplant from the Quality Branded folks. They have a bunch of restaurants in New York City. And yeah, it's kind of been branded as maximalist Italian, and I would say that's definitely true. Like,
yeah,
super kind of like over the top decor, and the menu is really playful. I have to say, I went in with like fairly low expectations. I figured like, oh, this is probably going to be, super gimmicky, Beverly Hills, expensive.
Yeah.
Not much substance there, but actually I really loved it. I felt like it was really playful. Like one of the appetizers that they do is literally just like these giant pepperoni that they grill so they get a little like crispy and a little smoky, with a side of ranch, like just pepperoni and ranch. Because, I mean, why have the whole pizza when you can just have the pepperoni and ranch? But no, it's like...
That's wild.
Stuff like that where I was like, is this actually going to be good? But I really, really enjoyed it. The cocktails were fantastic. They're doing a pepperoncini martini. I feel like they should just call it the pepperoncini. No, I don't know. I guess that doesn't work.
No, that's good. There's something there. It's not as good as Zattartini.
I know. You just add teeny to anything. Anyway, and the desserts were really, really fantastic. They do this like fruit, like cheesecake in a kind of like a lemon shell kind of thing. I was, again, pleasantly surprised. Highly recommend. I also did not feel like for Beverly Hills, it was like overly expensive. Like obviously everything right now is very expensive, but like it didn't feel over the top. So recommend it.
Like what are we talking? You can get out for like 100, 150 each?
Yeah, about that. I mean, depending on how big you go with the food.
Yeah.
Like the pastas were in the 30s. Again, we're not talking cheap, but like, it's not like Maria or
right.
Dolce Vita level pricing. No shade to those places are great, but they cost a pretty penny to eat at.
What did you get pasta wise?
We got like a rock shrimp pasta. I don't remember what the shape of the pasta was, but just like super buttery, garlicky, and then their agnolotti, which were both were delicious. Just like, even though they sound really complicated on the menu, but I would say they're like simpler than you would expect.
Yeah. And this is obviously like, we're talking like red sauce, Italian American style.
A little more adventurous.
Huh.
They have like a couple things that, yeah, that like veer pretty traditional, but like I think it's a little more playful than that.
Interesting. So it's like right up the street from Spago is where I didn't realize where it was. Cool. Okay, I want to go. I saw the collab that they were doing with the cheese store at Beverly Hills in the run up, and those sandwiches actually looked pretty good.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, where else?
I was down in San Diego and La Jolla, which we'll talk about a little bit later. And actually, I wanted to spotlight a bakery that I just wrote about. The article came out today. Everybody go look it up, please. But it's called Wayfarer Bread. It's right in the Bird Rock neighborhood, which is kind of this, it's part of La Jolla. It's actually kind of like hard to get to, but it's like right near the beach. And the woman who runs the bakery, her name's Crystal White. She is a Tartine alum. She did, ran their bread program for years and also helped to open Proof Bakery here in LA.
Oh, yeah.
So she's got some like serious chops, but honestly, like the pastries were just, I mean, some of the best I've had. And LA and San Francisco both have like outstanding pastries right now and croissants and the whole thing. But yeah, just like she does these like, she calls them flats and they're like little rectangular.
Like flattened croissants?
No, but they're like little like rectangles. And then in the middle, she puts like seasonal ingredients. So one had like cherry tomatoes, the other one there was a peach one, like just like super fresh seasonal. I mean, her ham and cheese croissant was one of the best that I've had in a long time. And obviously because she comes from a bread background as well, her like sourdough loaves and baguettes were outstanding. So it's been open since 2018 and there is still a line out the door every day.
Wow, that's crazy.
If you're going to go to Wayfarer Bread, they do offer pre-orders, so I highly recommend doing the pre-order option so you don't have to wait in line. But yeah, everything was outstanding.
What is she putting in these baked goods? Because it's the same deal at Proof. Like, however many years later.
I know. It's like, just get in line.
Atwater Village, it causes like a walking hazard on that street during the weekend.
I know. Well, it's fun. Yeah, I feel like that's become like one of the things that people line up for now is like the new pastry spot. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, I also love that too because like, okay, you just said best pastries you've had in a long time. You are an expert. You are someone who literally works in food. The average person, can they really tell the difference between a B+ croissant and an A+ croissant?
I think you can. I think it's the flavor. It's like the flakiness. I mean, when you have a disappointing croissant, right?
I mean, I don't really do croissants. Like it's not, I just don't,
right.
I don't really like them. I can't say my pastry of choice is a concha. Like I love when a bakery has a concha.
Sure.
And I can definitely tell, well, no, I can't tell the difference between a good one and a bad one, but I can tell the difference between one that I like and one that I don't like as much.
Right.
Yeah, I guess I can tell, but I'm also a particular asshole. Like I just refuse to believe that everybody is such an asshole and they're waiting in line for a croissant because it's that much better. I have to think it has to do a little bit with like the vanity or the...
Oh, totally. Well, and it's the like status of like,
Yeah.
Oh, I got the like, what was the Fonderie, the one that opened up in like Highland Park a couple of years ago. It's like, yeah, those lines were insane. And it's like, ultimately you're waiting 45 minutes for like butter and flour, but whatever. I mean, to each their own.
Absolutely. We are very much a to each their own podcast. What else in La Jolla? I see a couple other names here.
Yes. So I actually did. I had a wild and crazy night where I actually did 2 dinners in a row, which was insane because one of them, the second one actually was a tasting menu.
Respect.
So the first dinner was like was a 5 p.m. dinner at Fleurette, which is Travis Swickard's well, I guess they just opened in December. So new restaurant in La Jolla. He's very much known for kind of like French Mediterranean, but like very bright flavors.
Yeah.
So yeah, his first restaurant, Cali, is in downtown San Diego, but just opened Fleurette like 6 months ago. And yeah, I have to say, like, beautiful dining room. He's sourcing, like just outstanding local produce and seafood. Actually had a great pasta dish there that was like a squid and linguine with yuzu and some serrano pepper and a little dollop of like local uni. And I have to say, like, it's kind of like putting that like California spin on traditional Mediterranean flavors. I thought it was fantastic.
Into it.
My second dinner was the tasting menu experience, and that was at Lucien, which just opened last July. It's in downtown La Jolla, and it's a very young chef. He's only 30 years old. His name's Elijah Arizmendi, but he's worked at like Spago with Danielle Boulud, some other Rubichon, some very, very big names. And actually, while I was down there, that restaurant was awarded its first Michelin star.
Wow.
So that was fun. I got to go to the restaurant the night before they won. And he's really doing again, tasting menu, but interweaving French techniques, some Japanese flavors, and again, just highlighting, local farms and seafood. So both very different meals, but both very special. And
Best dish you had at Lucien?
There was this spot prawn dish right at the beginning of the meal that had all these other little vegetables and like a really bright herby broth. And it was just like the different textures and the freshness of the vegetables, and the spot prawn was just like very, was alive like moments before eating it. So just super fresh, but all of it was really beautiful. And I feel like, the dining room is really sexy. It doesn't feel stuffy, even though it's a tasting menu experience. It's exciting for them to have won the Michelin star, and I feel like it's going to be hard to get into, actually. So if people want to get there, they should make a reservation. But
you knew them back when,
Exactly. The night before. I knew them one day before. But yeah, I thought it was outstanding.
Good to know. Well, I'll add that to my tasting menu to-do list, because I haven't had too many meals in La Jolla, but it sounds like a wonderful place. From the article you wrote, which we will get to, the thing with a tasting menu, and I'll get to this in my recent eats, but I'm always really impressed with the ones that can nail the pacing so that you are perfectly full by the time you left. Mm-hmm. Of course, you kind of threw off that math by having an entire meal beforehand.
Right.
How is that? Would you say that having a meal before going to Lucien is necessary, or were you just extremely full by the end of this?
No, I think it would have been the perfect amount of food, to be honest. And yeah, this is not a reflection on either of the restaurants or the chefs, but I kind of wanted to die at the end of that experience because I was so full. I was like, I need to go. It was like 11 o'clock, and I was just like, I have got to go to bed now. This is absurd.
That is respect. You do the work, Karen.
Exactly.
One more very exciting name on this rundown.
Yes. So just last night, went and sat at the bar at Tower Bar at the Sunset Tower Hotel. And yeah, it's just one of those classic Hollywood spots. I mean, they're a little snooty. They're a little, everybody's a little too cool for school in there. But I love going and sitting at the bar and just having a burger and a martini and, feeling like I kind of fit in there. So it was great.
Yeah, you do. You're a celebrity.
Oh, sure.
Is that like the $40 burger?
I think it was around $40. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right. I didn't include that one on my burger countdown, not because of the price, just because I ran out of spots. But it actually was one I was considering doing. That one in the Polo, is it the Polo Lounge burger? Mm-hmm. Which I think is also like $50 to $60.
I'm sure it's like $50. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
The McCarthy salad now is like $50, I think. So,
damn, a lot of lettuce for some lettuce.
Exactly. Luca, where have you been eating?
Oh my God. The first time I've ever been asked this question. I'm so grateful. I ate at, I actually checked out, I don't want to say it's a hot spot anymore, but it certainly was when it opened. I believe you've already been. Is it Bar de Bello?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You've been, right? You talked about it on this podcast. Yeah.
I have been. I did. Yes.
I finally made it. I also stopped into the Noma Concept store beforehand, which was a good time.
Oh, did you? Okay. Did you pick anything up?
I did not pick up an $18 vasette of mushroom garum, but I did try everything they had on offer because they were doing like a tasting there. And God bless the lady who was working there and just talking us through everything and asking us if we were aware of what Noma was and stuff like that. Just like,
and you're like, oh, do I?
Oh, do I? Yeah. It was hard to keep a straight face on that one, but she did a very nice job of walking us through how everything was prepared. And I tried all of their hot sauces, all of their vinegars, the rose vinegar, the wild rose vinegar and all that.
Exciting.
It was For the most part, pretty good. Pretty good. Although,
But I have to ask,
yeah,
was there reindeer penis anyway?
they were freshly out.
They were
Freshly
fresh out.
fresh out of reindeer penis. They did. There was one thing that was so noxious, it almost made me like want to go home and not eat dinner. And it was this like truffle like little dipping sauce that they have or something. Mm-hmm. But they were very proud of the fact that they achieved creaminess without any cream. And they were explaining how they like used soy to do that. But oh my God, something about even, I think just as I tried it, their description of we achieved creaminess with no cream, with this like fake creamy
Right.
truffle tinged thing in my mouth, I was like, I want to go home and curl up into a ball. Like that was something else.
You do like a spit take.
Yeah. Luckily, I rinsed my mouth with some wild rose vinegar, and we were okay.
Yeah, there you go. And it just reset everything.
Yeah. But actually, Bar de Bello, I really enjoyed. Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed. Like I said this to my dining companion, and also to I think I said it in my like best things I ate this week video. But it felt like a restaurant with a capital R.
Mm-hmm.
Like it definitely felt like their hospitality touches were a little Hillstone-esque.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. And I think it feels like a grown-up restaurant.
Yeah.
Sexy, grown-up. I kind of like that it's like, behind that like thick curtain. So even though you're in a strip mall, you're like transported somewhere else.
Yeah. I like that too. Love the decor. The food was pretty solid, I would say. I think the appetizers and the second courses were my favorite thing. Mm-hmm. One of the best fritti misti I've had like in Los Angeles, period.
Wow, that's high praise.
I love the way that they did it. I think it was a very like light, minimal. Yeah, I mean, it was fantastic. Also, like they kept the heads of the shrimp in there. Just like as their own like standalone element of the fritto misto, and I absolutely love that. Also, these like very thinly sliced zucchini in there that were also fried to sort of like give it a little bit of green and a little bit of color. I just thought that was a phenomenal dish. I would go there just for that, honestly.
Right.
That and a nice stiff cocktail, sign me up. The pastas I liked. They were cooked well. We got the Nerano and we got the pasta di Bello, which is like the most, the viral one in the little pot,
Right. Yeah.
Fun way to serve it, fun pasta dish. But that's where the person who was serving us, who I believe is actually the owner of the restaurant, he was telling us how he goes to Italy 4 times a year. And honestly, like it was very reflected in a lot of the dishes we had. The part where it sort of went off the rails for me and I felt like I was back in America were actually the pastas. And it was because I don't know. I feel like, for example, the Nerano, there was a fried squash blossom in there, which just felt like an unnecessary flourish on the Nerano, which is supposed to be like a distillation of just zucchini flavor dialed up to the max. And I kind of wish they just let the zucchini sing in that, right? As opposed to like adding they added also, I think, a little bit too much cheese for my liking and whatnot. That said, not a bad pasta dish by any means, but it was just the moment where I was taken out of Italy and back into Silver Lake, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Well, flights to Italy are expensive these days.
Exactly.
But really enjoyed it otherwise. And we actually headed to Tacos Royale after that because it's right down the street. Talk about eating till we explode, because we ate, I think, $400 worth of food at Bar de Bello. And then...
Oh my God, wow.
Yeah. And then went over to Tacos Royale for quote-unquote dessert, after having had dessert at Bar de Bello, by the way, I might add.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was a crazy night.
I mean, I did what I did for work. You did it for fun.
I kind of did it for work. Kind of, it was,
True.
I'm talking about it now. That counts for something. But yeah, Tacos Royale. So everybody has been talking about Tacos Royale. There was a fun back and forth on social media about who discovered it, with, LA Taco claiming the discovery, whereas Bill Esparza had already written about it. If you missed that story, I highly recommend going to check it out on Instagram. But this is supposed to be like the best carne asada to ever hit Los Angeles. Like straight from Hermosillo, the guy Eloy is like this magician of carne asada from Hermosillo. The operation is very simple. It's literally just meat over open fire, and that's pretty much all they serve, other than a bean taco that can be dotted with I want to say they're like beef chicharron, like sort of like crisped up little pieces of beef on top if you want a little texture. And then they have a really, really impressive condiment bar, and they serve them on these beautiful flaky tortillas that are laced with beef tallow. So just like very savory, fantastic tortillas. I mean, look, nobody asked me to do this, and nobody asked me to make this comparison, but we've been talking a lot about another spot in at the Pavilion's parking lot on Melrose and Vine called Asadero Los Angeles, which has also become a bit of a darling here in LA. And we've sang their praises a million times, and nobody has asked me to do this, but I'm willing to make a comparison between the two. So it's hard to like say that Asadero Los Angeles is better than Tacos Royale, because clearly what you're getting at Tacos Royale is a super clean, dialed in concept. It has a sense of place, and it's bringing something special to LA, and the quality of the meat is pretty good, although it did have a little bit of grizzle in there. The flavor of the smoke on the meat is kind of unmatched. The tortillas are fantastic. The tacos are $8 though. They're like close to $8 each.
Right.
Taco at Asadero Los Angeles, I do appreciate there's more variety. I appreciate, that Ruben is always trying new things. And the prices are also a little bit more affordable than at Tacos Royale. So to me, while I can recognize that Tacos Royale is doing something special, Asadero Los Angeles still has my heart right now.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I think it's also, like you said, it's almost like comparing apples to oranges, because they're very different places. But we all have our neighborhood spots that we love, so I get it.
Yeah, thank you. I feel seen. And then finally, I won't talk too much about this one because I think we'll talk about it a little bit more in depth when Father Saul is back on the pod, but we made our second pilgrimage to Vespertine because his sister was in town, and he always goes all out when his sister is in town and plans these lavish weekends. They went to Cato and Vespertine, and they went everywhere. Honestly, it's a great job to be Saul's sister if you can get it, We were a little concerned going into Vespertine that it wasn't going to live up to what we experienced the first time. And when we experienced it the first time, we were both just like blown away. Like, oh my God, how has anybody ever doubted Jordan Kahn? He's the second coming. This is incredible. Like, give this a 4th star, not just a 3rd star. And we were a little concerned that it wouldn't live up to that hype. All I'm going to say right now is that it lived up and exceeded the hype from last time.
Wow. Okay. Well, I look forward to the full review then.
The full review will be coming. I just know I won't be able to do it justice by myself, so I'll wait for that. But if you have any doubts about Vespertine, have them no longer. I'm here to say, look, I haven't been to Somni. We're going to Providence on Friday. Been to,
nice.
Yeah. Lucky us. Actually, Saul was paying for that one because he lost a bet.
Love that.
Yeah, trust me, I love it too. But so we don't have a full apples to apples comparison here. But that being said, I still think this is one of the most impressive tasting menus in the city. You'll hear more about it in an episode coming soon. But now it is time for one of my favorite segments, What Karen's Been Working On Lately. We haven't done this in a couple weeks, and you have just been putting out banger after banger on your SF Gate page. We'll link it in the show notes so people can go read all your articles. But one that I wanted to double click on a little bit was that you were actually boots on the ground at the Michelin ceremony that happened in San Diego. We just talked about it on this podcast, but you were actually there. Peel back the curtain for us. What was it like?
So it was my first time going, which was exciting. It's funny because the past few years, or at least, maybe 2 years ago, there were a lot of like technical difficulties that people were talking about with the ceremony. Like the live stream wasn't working and like just all this, stuff around that. The thing that was most impressive to me, first of all, everything ran very smoothly, which was great. I think it was really exciting for all the San Diego people in the house. I feel like, having the ceremony there was kind of a nod to the city's culinary scene, and that I feel like getting more respect than it has in the past 10 years or so, with places like Addison, now Lucien getting their first star in La Jolla. So so that was a lot of fun just talking to, the San Diego chefs that were there. Also the guys from like Jeunet Jolie and Lilo in Carlsbad. They were all really excited to have it in their hometown. And then actually during the ceremony, I think my favorite part was I was sitting maybe like 2 seats down from the Cato guys.
Oh, yeah.
And when they listed off the returning 1 stars and their name wasn't on it, it was like, no, they like, everybody basically knew at that moment that they were going to be getting at least that 2nd star. So like people were coming up to them, hugging them, high-fiving them. It was just like so fun to see the community and people celebrating each other.
Can you imagine if they just had been left off altogether?
I mean, that would have been crazy. Because that was one of the things that people were predicting was like that they might get that 2nd star. But it was also exciting seeing, the chefs from Little Fish got I forget what the exact award
ones
is called.
to watch,
Emerging
that kind of
chef,
thing.
ones to watch, that kind of thing, which was really fun. There was a lot of LA representation in the house. So yeah, it was great. And then like seeing the 2 new 3-star, Californios became the first 3-star Mexican restaurant anywhere in the world. That was really exciting. So yeah, it was very, like I said, it was great to see just the community and how everybody was supporting and celebrating each other.
That's awesome. Now, is it like the Oscars? Like, is there like Conan O'Brien up there making jokes while, in between awards?
I mean, there was a host.
Who?
She was not, I don't remember her name. I'm so
Was
sorry.
she like corporate, like from Michelin corporate, or was she like an entertainer?
I feel like I don't want to get it wrong, so I don't know if I want to say anything.
Well, the reason I'm asking is because I'd like to humbly offer my services. If they need an entertainer for next year, I'd be happy to do it.
To me, I'm not sure if she's a local media person or like, a host who does these, like hosts events or hosts TV. I was not familiar with her personally, but it wasn't like, it was pretty, they kind of like kept it moving. It wasn't like super, jokey and like a monologue.
Oh, come on.
But,
a monologue would be great at this thing.
Right. Just like making jokes about people.
That's awesome. And so one thing I've noticed, or one thing I've always wondered is, I mean, if you've been invited to this event, you're pretty much on the list, right? There's nobody goes there and doesn't get on the list. There's nobody crying, right?
No, but I think you can be invited, and if you're a new restaurant, not actually get a star, but get like a bib gourmand or just kind of like a recognition. So those they don't really announce at the ceremony, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
And how about the after party? Was that wild? Like people doing cocaine off of donuts or what?
I mean, it wasn't that wild. There were some caviar bumps. Those were the only bumps I saw. But no, it was really fun. They had it at a hotel called the Lafayette. Or this is,
Oh yeah.
like I'm not sure that it was like an official after party, but no, it was really fun. They had like a DJ. There was some guy with a saxophone who was like making the rounds through the crowd. It was great. I don't know.
Wow.
It was a lot of fun. But just super, like the hotel itself, really cool, like very like maximalist decor. And they have all these different like bar and lounge areas. So it was like, it was very, very sexy. But yeah, I didn't see any extra naughty behavior going on.
Not in public, at least.
No.
Yeah. Lafayette's great. We stayed there last year, and it's highly recommend if you're going down to San Diego. Okay, so just up the road from San Diego, we've already touched on it, but you did a whole story on La Jolla and how it could be sort of the next place to watch in California. Did this just come up because you were having multiple meals there in one night, or did something attract you there beforehand?
Well, I had seen, look, I try to keep my finger on the pulse of what's happening with restaurants. And I had seen, like...
Yeah, just picturing you with your finger on the pulse and being like, yep, still breathing.
Yeah, exactly. No, but I had seen that a group that owns several restaurants in San Diego called the Puffer Malarkey Collective. They have like Urban Sea, Anime in downtown San Diego. That's like a Wagyu steakhouse. Opened a restaurant there a couple of years ago called Le Coq. And also...
The funniest part was that you laughed at that.
Yeah, exactly. So I was kind of, that kind of started me thinking about like, could there be something happening in La Jolla? But then with Lucien and Florette opening, it seems like there is a movement towards, kind of some of these more chef-driven restaurants. I mean, there are plenty of classic places that have been there for years. Like there's George's on the Cove is a very well-known, like, oceanside, like seafood destination, and the downtown area in La Jolla has a lot of, mom and pop restaurants and that kind of stuff. But like, especially with the new Michelin star, I felt like it was kind of like, honestly, the fact that they got one, I was like, well, this is perfect timing for my story. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, we'll see whether it draws other chefs there. I think certainly the Michelin star will draw diners, to Lucien. And yeah, we'll see what else comes up there.
La Jolla added to your day trips or weekend trips, folks. What
Exactly.
else? Any other stories you'd like to draw our attention to?
I mean, definitely check out also San Diego, the story on Wayfarer bread that came out today. Like I said, super special bakery. And yeah, otherwise just working ahead on some stuff. Actually, tomorrow, this will be out by the time the podcast comes out, I have a historical feature on Baskin Robbins, which started in Glendale.
No way. It's a Glendale operation? I had no idea.
It is. It was opened by two brothers-in-law. They actually both had ice cream shops, and then they combined them. They flipped a coin to figure out if they were going to name it Baskin Robbins or Robbins Baskin. So like,
wow,
just some fun historical stuff. They were also the first ice cream chain to start the free sampling thing with the little pink plastic spoons. So
good to know.
Give it a read. That'll be out tomorrow.
You know who's gonna fucking love that?
Who?
Evan Lovett of LA in a Minute. I just feel like he's gonna read that and be like, yes.
He's probably done something on them before, but
yeah.
I feel like he covers a lot of the historical stuff very well.
Yeah, he does. But I just feel like anytime you do something like this, he just like, oh my God, yes. Like he just like
yeah, he does get very excited. I appreciate the support.
He's great. All right, we're ready to move on to the big deal of the day today, which is this. It's a story that Caper dropped on Eater. It's pretty much a 4,000-word autopsy of the publication. Not that they're dead, but you might think otherwise based on this article. So the piece tells the story of what was once one of the most influential names in food media, which grew from a scrappy Gawker-style restaurant blog into a national authority on restaurant news with criticism, guides, investigations, video, and also cultural looks. The article argues that Eater's decline is partly the result of broader digital media forces, everything we've talked about in the past, like collapsing ad revenue, shrinking search traffic, platform shifts, and then later on, AI summaries, but also the result of internal choices that prioritized scale, SEO, maps, recommendations, and an app over the deeper journalism that was building its more prestige reputation. Something we've talked about a lot when it comes to Eater over the last couple of years on this podcast are the repeated layoffs, the regional consolidation, leadership changes, and the loss of key editorial talent like the Bill Addisons, like the Robert Sitzemas, which to some, according to this article, has weakened Eater's identity, morale, and also local expertise. There was recently a sale of Eater, which is now owned by Penske Media, and though it's surviving as a brand, the piece questions whether it can regain the editorial bite, pun intended, and cultural authority that once made it essential. Karen, you read this piece before I even asked you to talk about it. I want to start here. What are your initial feelings? Because you are an Eater alum.
I am, although I will clarify that because I really only filled in for about 5 months or so while a couple of people were on paternity leave. So I don't have like deep experience at Eater. I will just say that right up front.
Still.
But no, it definitely, yeah. I mean, that was a few years ago. A lot of it rang true to me, even having just been there that short time. There was a very big emphasis on the maps, on the recommendations, then there was still more local reporting and like restaurant
Yeah.
news. I feel like it's really shifted in the last year or so. Like this article says, to these kind of capsule quote unquote reviews that are really more to feed the upcoming app than anything else.
Yeah. The dining reports.
So yeah, I mean the dining reports. I think it's changed a lot even in the past few years since I've been there. But yeah, I read the piece and there was nothing like super surprising or shocking to me in there.
Yeah.
So
Well, let's zoom out a little bit because I think the piece does a really good job of teeing up the early days when Eater came on the scene. I'll confess, I wasn't really paying attention because I was in middle school. But can you paint? I'm just.
I was a grown ass adult, so yeah, I can.
Hey, no, I think you may have been in middle school too. Just you were living in America and I wasn't. So, can you paint paint the picture for us? What was the impact that Eater had on the scene when it came down the pipeline in New York City?
Well, they talk about this a little bit in the piece. One of the founders is a Gawker alum, so it definitely had like a lot of voice. It was like a little bit snarky, doing like these death wash reports and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think just because it was so like laser focused on New York City dining, it just quickly gained traction because like they weren't just covering, the restaurants themselves, they were covering the business of restaurants, and like it was very smart, and like I said, could be a little bit snarky. It definitely like almost immediately kind of caught traction and people were paying attention to what they were writing.
Yeah, it seemed to me like from reading between lines, it felt like they were almost breaking the fourth wall between restaurant criticism and news, because everything that existed before them was like, we are going to critique this restaurant in a very like...
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think too, and the article notes this as well, like, it's coming out of like the chef being a rock star era and like the Food Network exploding and all these things. So I feel like there was just more of a laser focus on food and restaurants specifically that like maybe hadn't been there before. But they really, they took the reporting to like a completely different level. And I think that's what drew people into it.
Yeah. So all in all, the piece kind of seems to frame the demise, if we want to call it that, of Eater as a series of good and bad decisions. Like good in the early days, meaning like the evolution from this Gawker-style death watch reporting into something that was more deep and investigative journalism that ended up earning Eater a bunch of awards too, including James Beard Awards and I think even like the MFK Fisher Reward for reporting, which is kind of considered like best picture at the James Beard Journalism Awards. So that's framed as like a good decision. And then the decisions like favoring maps and recommendations over deeper reporting later on is framed as bad. And then basically just like a series of bad decisions from there. Is it that simple? Is it basically just like forks in the road where they had decisions and they picked good ones at first and then just bad, 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 bad?
Well, I do think there were some missteps for sure in management and the direction that things have ultimately gone. But, it's also you have to look at the bigger picture of like what's happening in media all over the place. I mean, like look at the LA Times. They've had like round after round of layoffs these past few years. And like the article notes, kind of the shift away from this like prestige journalism versus chasing, SEO and Google and just all this. Media is a very difficult business. So I feel like it's not like we can't just say like, oh, they just made bad decisions. I think it's also the shifting landscape. They've changed ownership multiple times at this point. It's just, I think there are a lot of factors that play here. So I don't want to be like, it's all management's fault. I think it's a lot of different things going on.
For sure. I couldn't agree more. I mean, and they do, in the piece, Dana Brown does say this, like obviously the shifting landscape with SEO and, wanting to drive internet traffic, that obviously plays a part. But it does strike me that there are a couple fork in the road moments where Eater chose to go in a decision or chose to go in a direction and it either paid off or it didn't pay off. And to me, the fork in the road moment that stuck out the most was actually not when they started doing all the guides and the recommendations and all that stuff. It was actually when they decided to give up the Gawker style reporting and lean into investigative reporting. And I think this is why. To me, that was their advantage. that was their advantage. They were the insiders who like knew what was happening on the ground and could give people who were interested that peek behind the curtain in a really real, interesting, salacious way that I think was then a little bit lost when they went full investigative journalism. And sure, it won them some like accolades and I'm sure some funding and maybe even Vox Media paying attention to them more. But it's funny to me because the piece says over and over again that Eater viewed their value proposition as having authoritative takes. And to me, that's not like, to me, that is not actually their value proposition. To me, their value proposition is that they are inside, like they're inside it and they can give us that inside look when we are otherwise outside it. Am I being short-sighted in that to a 2020 Monday morning quarterback or whatever the phrase is?
Well, I do think, it's interesting because I remember like having been in food media as long as I have, like when this shift happened and when like all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, Helen Rosner from Eater is winning, James Beard Awards, and they have Bill Addison flying all over the country and like reviewing restaurants and all this stuff. And I do think maybe one of the things that happened, and they also mentioned this in the article, is like there were two very different Eaters, right? It's like you have that like prestige journalism where like, they note that like, I believe it was like Megan McCarron's investigation of like Dan Barber that took like years to put together. So it's like you have that side and then you have like the city folks who are just like jamming out like multiple pieces of content a day and like updating maps, and they get their like, couple $100 to eat out every month. But like, in a city like LA, that doesn't go very far. So I do think, yeah, it's interesting. I feel like that was one crucial moment. And I also think because it does blur the focus of what the site is about if there are two very different, like, two different mission statements or whatever you want to call it. But then I also feel like one of the turning points was like, kind of Amanda Clute was always the visionary and kind of the editorial lead. And I think her leaving was also a crucial like turning point in that, like, it just seems like since then, just the entire, like both sides of the picture have just been kind of like, okay, now what do we do? Like, how do we pick up the pieces here after all these layoffs and after, these changing media conditions and everything. So it feels a little bit like they're just kind of like throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what will stick.
For sure. I mean, I think they kind of chose to obviously invest in there's this interesting fork in the road where they choose to invest in the guides because that's what's getting the traction. And they decide to let go of the investigative journalism. They fire people like Ryan Sutton. They fire people like Robert Sitzema. That's more criticism than investigative journalism.
Right, but still more on the like prestige side of things versus,
exactly. Yeah. And it's funny because I think that is such a, it feels so reactionary to me because clearly, that's what's getting you the clicks. But what you're also doing by doing that is basically putting all your eggs in the basket of, we are going to compete with the infatuation because the infatuation, that's what they do extremely well. And they have a bottomless pit of resources to do that with JP Morgan Chase. So it feels like you're losing your differentiating factor that makes you different from the infatuation to then go up against the infatuation with way less resources. Right. To me, that seems like obviously you're going to lose that battle. But again, Monday morning quarterbacking that, you bring this up, or the piece brings this up, but you've already touched on it, are these broader forces of the internet and social media. I mean, clearly that's still impacting food journalists today. Like you yourself are writing for a publication that is entirely digital, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. That's true. That's correct.
Right?
Yep.
How do you try to adapt to those forces?
I mean, it's really difficult. I mean, there's no like magic answer anymore. So it is just trying things a lot of times and seeing what your audience responds to. So like, I know at SF Gate, like our readers tend to love stories about like old school places or these like historical pieces. Like they're honestly not as interested in like let's say, new LA restaurants. You know what I mean? So it's like we just kind of have to keep shifting and adapting to what we think is going to resonate with people, and it's hard. And you know, like this piece notes, you know, there are so many places that people get information now. It's not just publications. They're looking on TikTok. People are looking on Instagram. They're reading. There are Substacks now that people are like subscribed to. It's just like there's so much out there that you kind of have to just figure out what your niche is and stick to that.
I mean, it's cool to see the ability to optimize for that. Like, yeah, if your audience isn't interested in the new openings, then yeah, you do the Baskin Robbins historical look. And honestly, that's cool because it's adding a new, exciting perspective to the landscape that isn't otherwise there, other than LA in a Minute, of course. Sometimes that has horrible effects, though. Like, for example, I'm thinking about my own page, like the LA Countdown. I recently saw Alex Coons of Pie to Pie and Hot Tongue Pizza. He posted a really good Substack article on his Substack, which I highly recommend you go subscribe to. But he was talking about the most nefarious word in food reporting and social media content. Can you guess what it is?
The most nefarious word?
Yeah. That might be my word, not his, but the point stands.
I don't know. Influencer? I don't know.
Close. It's best. It's best.
Oh, yeah, sure. Okay, yeah.
And honestly, I'm sure he didn't mean to do this, but like I felt like there was a massive like spotlight, like, you know, like those police spotlights when they're chasing the suspect and they get the person. I felt like there was one on me because I looked at my feed and like literally 6 out of 10 on my last posts are like, "Is this the best pizza in Pasadena? Is this the best thing I ate?"
Exactly.
But I do that because that's what the algorithm has told me works. And I'm just basically like playing the game of like, this is what people seem to resonate with, and that's why I frame things this way. I try to add a little bit more nuance along the way, but to draw people in, that seems to be what works. So yeah, it's a fine line playing the game of what works and what gets you clicks versus actually putting something substantive and differentiated out there. It's a tough one. So I really empathize with Eater on that front. So the piece ends with it begins and ends with the sale. Basically, Vox or Eater's former parent company, Vox Media, was bought by Murdoch, James Murdoch, I'm assuming, and Rupert. Well, whoever. I don't know if Rupert's still.
I don't know.
Yeah, the Weekend at Bernie version of Rupert Murdoch.
Exactly.
And interestingly, though, Eater was left out of the deal. They bought all of Vox Media's properties except for like a few of them, one of them being Eater that got left out. And Eater was swept up by Jay Penske of Penske Media Corporation, who also owns Rolling Stone, The Hollywood Reporter, Variety, Robb Report, and other publications of that nature. So the piece kind of connects the dot that Eater could in the future be treated like Penske treated those other publications, which means to invest less in reporting and invest more in things like brand-tied or branded events and other forms of media like video. Is that an exciting new life for Eater? Or is that, it seems to me like that's already the direction they're moving in based on a couple things you sent me.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem like they're already starting to lean into the events fairly heavily. They have a new deal with Netflix to show Eater videos. And yeah, I mean, you know, I hate to say this because like I have nothing but respect for, you know, our folks at Eater, like Mona Holmes and Rebecca Rowland and Matt Kang. Like, I think they are all fantastic journalists and are still, you know, producing good work, even though like they're kind of constricted now by these new kind of rubrics that they have to work within. But
yeah,
you know, it is sad to me as somebody who both worked there and has just been a long time reader and fan of Eater to see that this is sort of where it's ended up. But, you know, yeah, maybe there's some new life in this like events route or producing other types of content, book deal. They have some, you know, I think their second cookbook just came out. So maybe there's some book opportunities there. But, you know, I do miss the old Eater. I'm not going to lie.
So does our Chef's Kiss Big Miss segment because we used to get so many friggin' articles from there. Now, not so much. But yeah, I mean, and I echo what you were saying. Like, so much respect. We had Mona on just a couple weeks ago, right? Like, we love Mona, love Rebecca, love Matt. And to that point, some people weren't stoked about this piece. In fact, I saw some chatter online from food writers feeling like this was a little bit of dancing on the grave of Eater while they're still living.
Right.
Do you think that's a fair sentiment, or do you think this is actually fair reporting, or both?
I think it's pretty fair reporting. I mean, they did speak to I think they said like 30 like current and former staffers. I mean, I think they really like did their homework. You know, it does feel a little bit like like Eater Death Watch.
Wow.
But
That's
yeah,
crazy.
it's
That is crazy karma.
But yeah, exactly. Sorry, Eater, it came back to bite you. But no, I think it's a pretty fair report. And again, like having been there, and my, Farley Elliott, who I work with, was also at Eater for many, many years. I mean, I don't think either of us were like completely shocked by anything in the piece.
Yeah.
And, it's just, unfortunately, this is just sort of where things are. But yeah, we'll see what the future holds. I will also say, sorry, this is kind of, a left turn, but
Love it.
in terms of like, good reporting, I really like Matt Kang's Kangtown newsletter.
Yeah.
I feel like he's doing some really, really great, reporting, like not just about LA, but even like Las Vegas. His like Michelin stuff was great. I think like, if you want to look for some of the old Eater, like subscribe to his newsletter, because I feel like he's really knocking it out of the park.
I couldn't agree more. They should honestly give everybody newsletters. Like, they should give Mona a newsletter. They should give Rebecca a newsletter, because it's a great way to let their journalism personality shine, if you know what I mean. Like, you get a lot of Matt in those newsletters in a good way.
Right. No, and I think he has like pretty like free reign to do what he's interested in and what he wants to do. And like, I mean, honestly, he's been covering LA restaurants for like 15 years. I mean, he's one of the great supporters and just voices here in LA. So I feel like, yeah, they should give everybody a newsletter, Eater. Come on.
I mean,
get on the Substack
that's what
train.
I was saying. Like, if you kind of like empower everybody to become their own little like food voice, like in a very like unique way, I just think that can only help the publication. Then again, if I was a publication known for laying off people every 3 weeks, maybe, I don't know.
Right.
I can see why maybe they're not doing that with everybody. Anyways, Eater, I wish them all the best. Like, such an incredible publication and like legacy of what it's done for food in the digital media age. But every company goes through tough times. Doesn't mean that this will be the end of it.
Right.
Just will be interesting to see how it comes back.
Exactly. For sure.
Anyways, are you ready for a round of Chef's Kiss Big Miss?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Jen Harris of the LA Times argues that LA really might be the pizza capital of the world, led by Pizza Cafe LA in Silver Lake, where Diego Garcia somehow decided one pizza style was not enough and now makes 7. Garcia went from eating a life-altering slice at Giuliano's in Brooklyn to teaching himself pizza through YouTube, trial, error, an Amazon oven, and a heroic misuse of family retirement funds. And with Pizza Cafe LA joining the likes of Quarter Sheets, Pizzeria Say, Mozza, Apollonia's, D-Town, Pizza Palace, and about 700 other excellent places, the message to New Yorkers from Jen is basically this: take a deep breath, have a slice, and try to accept that you're no longer the only pizza city in the USA. Karen, is Jen's take on LA's pizza dominance a thank God somebody said it Chef's Kiss, or we've been saying this for years, Big Miss?
Okay, so first of all, I think it's a great profile. Love Jen Harris, love her work, and I give a Chef's Kiss to the headline itself, because I obviously agree with it. But you and I have been saying this for a long time. Even Bill Addison has been saying that LA is like, the pizza capital of the country for a long time. So I feel like it's a little like a couple years behind the ball. But again, like I love that she spotlighted this pizzeria, and that, and I love the headline personally. I do feel like it's a little, yeah, like this has been happening for a while. So
Yeah, I agree. That's what I thought when I read it. I was like, oh, this is for sure going to get clicks. Amazing. I think the interesting thing here is that it took Pizza Cafe LA for her to say this, you know, like,
yes.
God,
Like that
God
was
bless him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I've
a great
heard
story.
good things.
Yeah, it's a great,
Yeah.
and it's like, you know, all of the elements of the story make for a great article, but it's just, it's funny that that's the spot.
Yeah, it was just fun. But look, I'm really happy for Pizza Cafe LA. I run by there probably 3 times a week. I've never been in. I'm ashamed to say I will go this year for my pizza countdown. But I've been told they do a million styles. They do them very well. And I'm excited that they got some huge shine in the LA Times. But yeah, Jen, come on. Welcome to the party. We've been saying this.
And who knows? That might not have even been her headline. We could also put that
sure.
out there. Like, but yeah. It's a great
It
profile,
probably
though.
was not. It probably was not. But still, just fun to poke a little fun. All right, next one.
Exactly.
The New York Times, Tejal Rao covers the decline of the Las Vegas buffet, exploring how one of the strip's defining rituals has gone from cheap, chaotic abundance to a luxury relic with only a handful left after casinos shifted towards celebrity restaurants and flashier dining concepts. At places like the Wynn, Bacchanal, and Wicked Spoon, she sees the buffet as a weird little American stress test. Everyone is trying to maximize value, chase crab legs, avoid rookie mistakes, and figure out who they are when faced with 250 dishes and a 90-minute clock. The piece is really about how the buffet exposes our relationship to excess, nostalgia, choice, and scarcity, because even in the land of all you can eat, somebody still gets the last snow crab leg. Karen... So it's one of the realities of life.
It
the
is.
slow, painful death of the Las Vegas buffet, a good riddance tinged chef's kiss, or a sad and somber big miss?
I mean, I think it's a sad and somber big miss. It's such a part of Las Vegas culture, and it's also like, you know, you look at these, like the celebrity-driven restaurants, and most of them, I mean, no offense to Bobby Flay or Lisa Vanderpump or whoever, like, just, you know, it's like, I know, I'm so sorry, LV.
How dare you? How dare you take our Lord and Savior Lisa Vanderpump's name in vain?
Please forgive me, LVP. But yeah, I mean, most of those celebrity-backed restaurants are just so overpriced and mediocre. And, you know, it's like, I'm not saying the food at these buffets is going to be great, but at least they are somewhat affordable. And, you know, I don't know. Again, it's just like, it's so interwoven into the culture of Vegas that it's a bummer that they're disappearing. So that's my take.
Did I tell you about the last time I went to a Las Vegas buffet?
No. Did you get sick?
No. Well, no, but I could have in a catastrophic manner. So I was in Las Vegas for the Nevada caucuses during the 2020 presidential election,
Wow.
campaigning for a candidate who had absolutely no chance. God bless him. Because we didn't actually have enough organic support for our candidate, we were allowed to bring our significant others with us to lead caucuses. So my wife scored a free trip to Las Vegas as well. And after we were done caucusing, our campaign had a devastating showing because despite knowing we had no shot, we were all optimists. My wife and I, our final day, decided to go to the Bellagio buffet, and we have a fantastic meal. We had a great time. The only issue is we're talking about end of February 2020, and there are rumors
Oh man!
of this disease, going around.
Did you get it from that?
No, thank God we did not get it, to our knowledge. But that was really.
Were you a super spreader?
I might have been the super spreader.
Wow.
I actually, like, you talk about gambling. That is one of the biggest gambles you could have taken in Las Vegas that weekend.
Yeah, that's crazy. Actually, when things really started to shut down in 2020 and, like, you know, early to mid-March, I was actually in Florida with my parents. So hey.
Wow.
But I flew back to LA like right away. I was like, well, no offense to Florida, but I was like, I'm not getting stuck here.
Hey, it would have been one of the more free places to get stuck.
Right. Anyway.
Anyways, I agree. Big miss. We love the buffet. Keep the buffets going strong. All right, next one. SF Gates, Karen Palmer covers Pawn Shop, a new 7,800 square foot Hollywood sports bar from Diego Torres Palma, backed by Mark Cuban, Andrew Friedman, Ali Riley, Chandler Parsons, and other sports/entertainment money people, opening right as LA enters its World Cup, Super Bowl, Olympics peak. The whole thing is basically a sports bar that feels like Las Vegas by way of LA's gastropub heyday. 53 screens, 2 video walls, reservable bar seats, private mezzanine suites for VIPs and security, and quote-unquote game day food from chef Tony Messina, like caviar hot dogs, pickle brined fried chicken, and sticky pork ribs. The pitch is that LA supposedly isn't a sports bar town, so Pawn Shop is trying to become the luxury clubhouse version of one. Less sticky floor dive, more watch the Dodgers while pretending your friend group has a suite at the arena. Karen, my question for you is actually about Mark Cuban. We're talking about a Shark Tank dude, widely considered one of the savviest business people in the world, yet he's going into restaurants, one of the worst business decisions in the world, scientifically speaking. Is this a devastating big miss of a blow to his business person street cred, or a chef's kiss burst of optimism that maybe the hospitality industry isn't so bad?
Well, first of all, I like how you just called them like money people. I feel like I need to take that term. Well, the thing about this, though, is like whatever his investment is in this, which I have no idea, what level that is or how much money he's put behind it. It's such a small drop in the bucket, I'm sure, for Mark Cuban. So it's like, I don't think it's so much a rallying cry for the hospitality industry as like he maybe just wants some place to hang out while he's in LA to watch sports and have his private suite and security. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. So I don't really have an answer for this one because I feel like it's kind of neither, It's just...
Fair enough. Yeah, his investment in this is the equivalent of my investment in an Erewhon smoothie for recovery after a run.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just like
probably more than I'd want to spend, but yeah.
Right.
Not enough to bankrupt me.
Yeah, it's not going to make a dent in your yearly income. Let's put it that way. So yeah.
Well, optimistic about my yearly income there.
So it's like a sideways thumb, just like neither up or down.
Did you go to the pawn shop for this?
I'm actually going tomorrow.
Nice.
So that might be one of my recent eats.
For soccer?
Yes.
I don't know.
No, more just to check it out. I want to try the pickle fried chicken. But yes, we will be watching soccer while we're there, I'm sure.
Nice. Yeah,
I don't even know who's playing tomorrow, honestly, so I don't know.
France, Morocco. How do you not have that marked in your calendar?
I'm sorry, soccer fans. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. They forgive you. No, I need to go too. I've been meaning to go. I just haven't had time, but I will be going because I've seen videos of the atmosphere and it looks pretty great, and I've been doing some content for that soccer show on Yahoo Sports, so I want to feature this. And just like anything Mark Cuban owned is such a good hook.
Yeah, totally. And I do want to see what the suites look like. Actually, sorry, fun fact, when I interviewed Diego about the restaurant, he was saying like, I mean, you can watch whatever in those screening rooms. Like, you don't have to, although...
Yo, are we watching
but it's like,
Real Housewives of OC in a screening room?
I mean, we should. Like, maybe we rent one for, like, the reunion or something. I don't know. But yeah, he was like,
brilliant.
you could watch Love is Blind. You could watch Love Island. Yeah, like, literally, like, it's your room. Like, take it and do with it what you will. So yeah.
That's so clutch. For my birthday, I might organize a screening of something deranged in one of those rooms with caviar hot dogs.
Totally.
By the way, my birthday is not 4th of July.
That was so... It was literally like... Because I was like, really? I don't know. So when is your birthday then?
February 8th. Thank you for asking.
Weird. I don't know if it's like maybe that's when I like added it into my phone. Like I have no idea. Like so weird.
Funny. I've never been wished a happy birthday on the same day as America's birthday, so it was a big honor for me.
Yeah, well, you're welcome.
So last one for you, and it's apropos. We're ending with Eater's Frankie Knapp, who published what is essentially a forensic food investigation into the alleged Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce MSG wedding. Because when NDAs lock down the vows, America naturally turns to the catering trucks. The reported menu sounds like my 3-year-old niece got a hold of my DoorDash account. Italian food, sushi, caviar chicken nuggets, cheesesteaks, pizza, 30 cakes, and late night ... Danishes. The real takeaway is that the biggest wedding of 2026 apparently became a full city restaurant collab with Sardiano's, Mama's 2, Danny and Coops, and various pastry operatives allegedly feeding the machine while everyone pretended this was normal human behavior. Karen, if you're a guest at this wedding, do you walk away feeling like it was an abundant, luxurious, even charming chef's kiss, or a what the hell did I just eat big miss?
I mean, I feel like it was probably really fun. Like, who doesn't want like a caviar top chicken nugget? Come on, like. But no.
It honestly sounds like one of those industry only parties I've never been invited to.
Exactly. So like, I think I will give it a chef's kiss because I like that they supported local restaurants. You know, I'm sure there were also just some which, I mean, catering companies are also local businesses. So or they might have had to go through MSG for some of it. But I do like that they, had some legitimate New York local places there. I mean, gives them a little bit of press, gives them some business and whatever. I mean, also, if you're at Taylor Swift's and Travis Kelce's wedding, do you give an F about the food?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
You do?
Yes. I mean,
see, I would. I don't know.
First of all, you should judge every wedding based on the food, and that's just facts. But the fancier
That's
the
fair.
wedding, the more resources they have. That means they could have had anything. They could have had, Matsuhisa Nobu in a ballerina tutu serving sushi on pizza.
True.
If they wanted it, right? The fact
Right.
they could have asked for anything and it would have come. So that's why I would judge them on this.
I don't get the late night Danishes. That's the one thing that really is I don't know.
That feels like an inside
Yeah,
joke.
probably. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe it's what they got as their midnight snack on their first date or
Exactly.
something,
We'll never know.
Yeah.
Or maybe we will.
We'll never
I
know.
don't know.
We'll never know. Well, yeah, maybe we'll get invited to their vow renewal in a couple of years. We can only hope.
At the Kia Forum.
At the Kia Forum. Wow, they're downsizing. They can't even do SoFi?
Exactly. Yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see where the vow renewal is.
Fingers crossed. We can only hope. Karen, you've done a great job today. And, of course, you won Chef's Kiss Big Miss. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, as always, for joining us. Go enjoy Real Housewives of Orange County.
I will. I can't wait. Thank you, Luca.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the LA Food Podcast. Thanks to our guests for making the time for us. As always, we'll be back with another epic episode next week. But if you're looking for me in the meantime, you can find me on TikTok, Instagram, Thread, YouTube, even our website at the LA Countdown. You can also find us on Instagram at It's Acquired Taste and at acquiredtastemedia.com. If you like what you heard here today, dear listener, please consider going to wherever you listen to podcasts and leave us a 5-star rating or review, even a follow. That really helps us. It means the world to us. Thank you so much in advance.